Yes, I've come out of my mother's basement. I'm on the kitchen patio. I'm standing on the patio. I'm sitting on the patio of one of my properties here in Iron Upper Cyprus. Behind me is the other property. And today, on Sunday's edition of the DCU Daily, I'm asking you this question. Could James Gunn's Superman be a better or worse film than Man of Steel? Will it make less money than Man of Steel or more money than Man of Steel? Let's try and discover that as we've been through a week of toxicity and propaganda by certain other people. But as I always say, this dawn isn't for turning. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on X Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad. X on TikTok, Mad Mickey's World, and on Snapchat, BMouth60. Mick, your host with the most. And isn't that the truth? So very warm welcome to Sunday's edition of the DCU Daily. After a week of mutant monkey rumours of a multitude of jokes in James Gunn's Superman movie about the Snyder Cut and about cancel culture and about Lois Lane trying to expose propaganda and cancel culture, we've had a week of anti-James Gunn Superman propaganda. James is putting a brave face on it, as I think they're in the Italian Comic-Con right now, and that video I saw was great marketing. So that's another question for you today. Warner Brothers are about to launch the hugest PR marketing campaign for a movie in the history of this long old studio. Can a bunch of ordinary people, fans, really destroy this movie when they're spending millions upon millions to market this movie? Well, Nerdrodic destroyed, Rings of Power on Amazon. He destroyed the reputation of that TV series single-handedly. It goes to show you, when you're smart, you can defeat, a huge entity. It's amazing if you think about it, but the Snyder fans are not giving up. And now the fandom menace, people like Nerdrodic, have been a bit upset with James Gunn's Superman apparently having mutant monkeys that are the analogy of bots spreading fake propaganda. As I said the other day, and I think yesterday, is it really far from the truth? You wanted a real world Superman, James Gunn's about to give it to you. But all I'm hearing now is on the internet, on X Twitter and on YouTube, this movie sucks, this movie's gonna suck. The truth is, nobody knows if this movie's gonna suck or not, because you haven't seen it. Even the people who have seen the test screenings haven't seen the final cut of this movie. A movie with fully formed VFX or a musical score and sound effects in it, right? So nobody knows if this film is actually going to suck. And from day one, I decided to quieten the noise and give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt until I actually see this movie. I have not changed my mind. I will be seeing this film back to back at 5 p.m. on the Wednesday, I think the 8th or 9th of July. And then when that finishes, there'll be a second showing straight away at 8 o'clock. I'll be watching that. I'll come home, I'll prep my review, and I'll record it and upload it the following day. My plans haven't changed, because guess what? As you can see, I'm an intelligent guy, right? So I'm not influenced by influencers who are only causing a storm to make coin. Yeah, we're just ordinary Snyder fans. We're just telling you this stuff because we're here for the fans. They're also making money on your hatred and fears of this movie at the same time. And so is the fandom menace. Don't forget that. Now, the Snyder fans and these people with YouTube channels, right, are desperate for this film to fail. When they think about this movie failing, they get a really big erect boner. They get very, very excited. They can't imagine, when they think about this movie succeeding, they get very upset and very angry. And the mischievous side of me wants this film to be successful. But you know what? It's a Superman film. It's a DC movie. If it's great and it deserves to be successful, then it should be successful. But the question I'm asking you all today, can James Gunn's Superman movie, Is it a better movie or a worse movie than Man of Steel? We can't answer that. Will it be? Will it make more or less money than Man of Steel? These are important questions. I read an article at comicbookcom saying there's no way that James Gunn's Superman is going to be better than Man of Steel. And DC fans should accept that. I think that's an interesting statement, isn't it? If you think about it, because, you know, it depends on your perception, right? If you're a diehard Man of Steel fan and you're against Henry Cavill being replaced by David Corenswet, even if James Gunn's Superman is the Godfather, right, is Mount Rushmore of superhero Superman movies, you're still not going to admit it. So ultimately, what people say on the internet means nothing. And as I keep on saying, you shouldn't be influenced by what people are telling you, right? That's very important to say. James Gunn's Superman film could be a terrible film. It could perform worse at the box office than Man of Steel. But also, it could perform a lot better than Man of Steel at the box office. We simply don't know. And saying it sucks before we've seen it, saying it's going to make less money than Man of Steel, you see, it doesn't make it true. But let me tell you this. There's certain types on Twitter right now who have decided that, you know, James Gunn's Superman is going to be a terrible movie. And they've decided if they think it's going to be a terrible movie, it will be a terrible movie. And unfortunately, that's not how life works. Actually, I don't want it to be. It's not unfortunately, because I don't want it to be a terrible movie. I don't think this is going to be a terrible movie. I've questioned if having James Gunn write and direct a Superman movie was the best of ideas. I've pointed out red flags. But I've always said that low-key, it should be a solid enough movie. It's not going to suck. It's not going to be terrible, right? I don't believe that. I believe this will be a good movie. What we don't know right now is, will it be a great movie? Will it be an outstanding movie? It's certainly a movie that everybody is talking about. And it doesn't matter what they're saying about you, no publicity is bad publicity. And the teaser had a lot of views. Now, the main trailer is coming very soon, I've been told, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to react to it. But again, that toxicity and propaganda will pop up again. I was rewatching the 5-minute preview the other day. There's actually nothing wrong with that preview. Just because Snyder fans have got GIFs and memes of Spider-Man picking up Superman off the snow doesn't make it a bad movie. Their memes mean nothing. Don't be influenced by them. You can laugh. You can get involved with the banter of it. That's totally fine. You're not being disloyal to James Gunn or to Superman or whatever. But the fact remains that these people are desperate for this movie to fail. Because they think if this movie fails, Zack comes back and finishes this trilogy. I don't believe that's the case, by the way. Because there's still people at the studio that don't like Zack Snyder and they'd rather go bankrupt than bring Zack back. It's a very interesting situation because you've got an element at the studio who like Zack Snyder, who are, you know, Mike DeLuca and Pam Adby. And apparently they've even consulted with Zack about this Superman movie. I don't know if James has as well. James has certainly taken a selfie with Zack. He's not opposed to using Zack to try and sell this movie, to try and appease Zack's fans. But let's be clear about this. There is no appeasing Zack Snyder's fans. They want Snyder World, Snyder Movies, Snyder DC, and they will not accept anything less. So they are desperate for this movie to fail. And I think this is fascinating because there's so many scenarios that can happen. But this movie has to make as much or more than Man of Steel. Make no mistake about it. A Screen Rant article talking about how important this movie is to the future of Warner Brothers. And this, again, I said this months ago, and everyone's coming to the party late on. This is what happens with my takes. Everybody gets there eventually. I have no idea what this film is. I have no idea if it's going to work or not. I have been told about elements from the test screenings, but it doesn't matter. That's not the finished movie. I have not seen the finished movie. I don't know what the finished movie is going to be. So I'm going to reserve my judgment. And I suggest you do the same and allow nobody to influence you. I'm not going to tell you you have to go and see this movie or you shouldn't go and see this movie. It's up to you. If you were always going to see this movie, don't let people on Twitter and on YouTube put you off. But the studio and Gunn are under a lot of pressure. Now, when you see Gunn on Instagram and on social media, he doesn't seem like he's feeling the pressure. He's doing the right thing. He's not reacting to the negativity and toxicity, which he was in the early days of taking over at DC Studios, and that, James, was a huge mistake. He cannot lower himself to that level. He's got to focus on his marketing, finish editing the trailer, finish editing this movie, and present it to the public in July. And like any film, we will be the judge of it. It's a huge moment for him, for DC, and especially for Superman. But I'm just not ready to write off this movie quite yet.